Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivedanta.
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 Dekhiye na dekhe abakera gaan.
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 Ulke na dekhe surya kiran.
Ulke na dekhe surya kiran.
Dekhiye na dekhe abakera gaan.
Dekhiye na dekhe abakera gaan.
Ulke na dekhe abakera gaan. Ulke na dekhe surya kiran.
Ulke na dekhe surya kiran.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much for the help. Together we can do it. So, while looking, dekhi na dekhe, they are looking, but they don't see. That is the nature of the non-devotee. Ulake na dekhe surya kira. Just like the owls, they cannot see the light of the sun. Because the owl they can see in the night. In the day, the sunlight's too bright and they can't see it. So the owls can never see the sun. They can only see the night. Like this. So, who can understand? Who can understand the miracles that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed? Oh yes. Pasu Paki Jura Pasana Vidane. He made the animals and the birds even chant. And the stones, Pasana Vidare, the stones melt in ecstasy. Just see, the stones became soft because of the ecstasy. Such things he did. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went into the Jarikanda forest. And it is a deep jungle. And as he was in the jungle, one day, there was a tiger lying across the path. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking and chanting, and his servant was walking 5 meters behind or so. And he saw Mahaprabhu walk up straight to that tiger. And I was like thinking, what's going to happen now? And Mahaprabhu just placed his lotus foot on the head of the tiger and said, chant. That tiger started to as tigers chant, as tigers do when they chant. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the deers chant as well. And the deers and tigers started to embrace and even kiss each other, which is sort of unusual for deers and tigers. Then he took his bath in the river and made the elephants also chant out loud the holy name of the Lord. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was engaging in his forest kirtans. So these are miracles, undoubtedly, right? Which ordinary person can do such a thing? So from the beginning in his life and throughout, there were miracles. And it must be so. Otherwise, how could Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? One day I was in New York, in a park, and there on a bench, I met a man. I was trying to distribute a book, and he said, "No, I don't need it. I am God." I said, this is beyond my expectations. I said, all these years I've tried to be your devotee, and now you have revealed yourself to me in all your kind mercy. I said, but my Lord, you must forgive me. There's a little doubt in my heart, Could you please kindly clear it for me? Could you maybe make those trees on the other side of the pathway a little taller so that we have some shade here? He said, what makes you think that God can do that? I say, well, isn't God all-powerful? He said, that's your definition. I said, then what is your definition? That God is a powerless, toothless old man sitting on a park bench? I said, then everyone can be God. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not that kind of a God, right? A cheap one. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that he was extraordinary. He showed some devotees 6 arms. Can you do that? Not so easy, huh? 6. The 3 of you together have 6 arms. And in a play, you can all stand behind each other, and wave the arms, and everyone, it looks as if it's one person's arms. But if you look close, you can see it's just for the play. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed 6 arms. Several devotees saw it. You can still go to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Jagannath Puri. And there you can see there is a drawing on the wall, because it was in that very house that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw that 6-armed form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why 6 arms? 2 arms holding bow and arrow. 2 arms playing a flute. And 2 arms, one holding a danda and the other one kamandalu, the water pot. So why 6 arms? Because here Lord Chaitanya was showing that he was non-different from Lord Ramachandra, and at the same time non-different from Krishna. Because after all, that's the same Lord. Ram and Krishna are not 2, they are 1. Because Vishnu Tattva is 1, the one Supreme Lord. Just like when Krishna would break the butter pots and the yogurt, and then what did he do? He took some with his friends, and then what did he do? He would give it to the monkeys. And it's like when he was caught, and finally he was caught, and they said, why are you giving it to the monkeys? He said, what can I do? They did so much service for me in my last life. See, in this way, the Lord is very indebted to the monkeys. So the Lord appears again and again in different forms. But although he's the same Lord, he doesn't display the same miracles. The miracles performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such miracles were not performed by Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra showed amazing miracles because he managed to kill 14,000 Rakshasas, which is, a decent number for one person, right? I mean, sort of an impressive fight. Then Lord Ramachandra, just by writing his name on a rock, remember all these rocks were floating in the water. Rocks don't float. Yes, they do. When you write the name of Ram, try it. See if they float. So they were floating in the water, yes. And that certainly was a miracle, undoubtedly. Krishna also did that, actually, because once in Vrindavan, the gopis were challenging Krishna. So, if you are the Supreme Lord, if you are none different from Lord Ramachandra, then can you make a bridge across this lake? Krishna said, no problem. And he called all the monkeys, and all the monkeys came down from the forest. And they rode Krishna on the stones. And the stones were floating, and the gopis walked across that bridge. So Krishna could do it as well. But Lord Lord Chaitanya, he did other miracles. He made all the animals chant and dance, and that was certainly amazing. But what was the greatest miracle of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the extraordinary symptoms of love of God that he showed. No one had ever danced like that. No one could dance like that. No one. He would just spin around so fast. It said it looked like his arms just made a full circle. Yes. Sometimes he would bend over backwards and just his head would touch his ankles. Can you do that? You? In this way, Lord Chaitanya was just showing amazing symptoms of love. And that is the whole purpose of his appearance, to actually show by example what it is like to perform devotional service and what it's about. That it's not about being just a casual devotee, but that Krishna consciousness is the all in all. That it means that every fiber of our existence, every fraction of a moment is meant to be dedicated to Krishna. Nothing less. You see, fully, not holding back. I know that is maybe not the case right now in our lives. That's okay. We can't do it all at once, but it must come to that. Then you will also dance and jump in great ecstasies. Like it said, that when Lord Nityananda was dancing, there was this group of young boys, they danced for 1 month. And they didn't eat, they didn't stop, and they became so fired up in that kirtan that at the end they pulled trees out of the ground. Yes. And it said there were old men, and they were getting so enthusiastic, they began to jump so high, they jumped into trees and danced on the branches, even on the thin ones. And it didn't break. You can try that. In this way, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have been performed, showing that by love for Krishna, ordinary mundane limitations can be exceeded. And that is a fact. So this is also possible in our life. This is our movement. Now, it is still the time of Gaur Purnima and just finished. So that is why I'm still speaking on this topic. that we can actually very easily go beyond our limits. And that's the idea. Where do you find anything like that? Many people go to the Kumbh Mela. It is the biggest religious gathering in the world. But it's okay like this. I keep a distance. It's fine. So many people go to the Kumbh Mela. They say in 1 month maybe 20 million people go. Right? On the big bathing days, you get like sometimes 10, 12 million people on one day bathing. Big crowd, very well organized, no pushing, little pushing in the water. It's like few people drown, but that's auspicious. You're very lucky if you drown on such an occasion. Oh, greatly blessed, right? Because everyone realizes, you get liberation, right? Yes. And for that, everyone goes. But the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, liberation, liberation. Why liberation? Janmani Janmanisware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahaitakritai. They don't want liberation. They say, just let me take birth, life after life in this world, and simply engage in your service. That's all I ask. I don't want to be free from the material world. That's no problem. Material world is not a problem. As long as I'm engaged in your devotional service, everything is fine. So we see that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya thank you. Okay, enough. Too full? Yeah, cannot. Yeah, so the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they are not interested in mukti. Krishna comes and says, Mukti dadati bhaktina karichit. Liberation, I will give you. You want? Yes, I will give you. And the devotee will say, no, that's all right, Krishna, that's okay. But what are you hiding behind your back? Oh, nothing. No, Krishna, what are you having there? He said, no, nothing. That is bhakti I'm having. Bhakti. Oh, give me that bhakti. Oh no, bhakti I will not give you. No. Mukti, take mukti. Bhakti, no, I don't give you bhakti. No, Krishna, I want bhakti. I'm not giving it to you. Why? Why you don't give it to me? Why? Because by bhakti I become purchased. I become your property by bhakti. So that I don't give very easy. Oh no, bhakti you will not get so easy. For bhakti, you have to really try. Mukti, yes, you can get it. Take. Take mukti. Take it now. 4 arms, Vaikuntha. You take. But bhakti, sorry. I don't have any today. You have Krishna behind your back. Yes. So in this way, bhakti is rare. It's not easily available because bhakti is not cheap. With bhakti, we have to give ourselves. You cannot get away with giving a donation. I gave a donation. No. Why you are coming to my door? I gave donation. I gave it. So, finished. I did it. No. With bhakti, we did the puja. Very good. And now what you're doing? It's not just about we did a puja, we gave a donation. No, bhakti is 24 hours a day. Bhakti is always. Bhakti is at every moment. Bhakti is not just in the temple. Bhakti is everywhere. It's at work. Some people complain and they say, oh, at work, how can you be Krishna conscious at work? You can be Krishna conscious anywhere. Prahlad was always Krishna conscious. Prahlad was Krishna conscious in when they threw him in the hot ghee, right? They threw him in some hot ghee, but he didn't get burnt. But he was still Krishna conscious. It didn't distract him. They threw him in a pit of snakes, and he was chanting all the time. Now, if you throw me in a pit of snakes, I might also be chanting all the time, but in a different mood, you know. Once I was on a plane. It was a very small plane from Mildura to Melbourne. And it's a small plane in those days, and it was called a cigar. And it was very shaky, and the weather got very bad. And we were in this thunderstorm, and that small plane, it was just going on. And it was a 1 hour flight, and I chanted 16 rounds in 1 hour. That's like, phew. Hare Krishna. I was so scared. What can I say? So if you throw me in a pit with snakes, I think I will also chant something like on that plane, but not like Prahlad, who was completely peaceful. It never distracted him, never upset him. One of the principal followers of Ramanuja-Acharya was Vedanta Deshika, right? And Vedanta Deshika, he once wrote about this, and it said, they were asking Prahlad, but how come you were not afraid when you were in that pit of snakes? How come you were not afraid? Prahlad said, look, my father is the Supreme Father, Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu, he sleeps on a bed of snakes. So when a child is playing on the bed of his father, is he afraid? So why would I be afraid of the snakes? So in this way, Prahlad was not afraid of the snakes. No fear at all. So this is devotee, transcendental devotee. So Prahlad was such a transcendental devotee. So we have our Mahajans. Mahajana yena gata sapanta. One must follow in the footsteps of these great Mahajans. That is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went to various places, right, that were related to Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad. He went to Ahobilam, he went to Simachalam, right, which are places where there are temples dedicated to Lord Nrsingadev. And Lord Chaitanya went there. And he prayed there. He prayed, Shri Nrsinga Jai Nrsinga Jai Jai Nrsinga Praladeja Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa. Ugram Vira Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrshingam Visanam Badram Mrjo Namo Mayam. Now we are also chanting these mantras in the worship of Lord Nrsingadev. Maybe not in Melbourne, but in Mayapur or in some other places. We are chanting these mantras because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting these mantras. Sometimes I'm thinking about the Vedic scriptures and how the Vedic scriptures are many. And it's like that the Vedic scriptures are like a mountain in the ocean of mercy. So many scriptures. A mountain of transcendental knowledge in the ocean of mercy. The Vedic scriptures. And then, at the base of that mountain, there is a sand beach, and the waves of the ocean of mercy are washing on the shore. And if you have seen, it's like I grew up near the beach, and you could see how the waves go on the water, on the sand, and then they reach their furthest point, leave a water line, and then they go back. And you can see this is where the wave came, the water line. And then sometimes there is a wave, it comes even further than the last one. Yes. So the wave of Lord Chaitanya's mercy washed very far onto the shore of the Vedic literature. And suddenly, by the liberal mercy of Lord Chaitanya, yes, he so freely gave. So, for in the age of Kali, who can follow all the sanskaras? Who can follow them? Who even knows them? Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur wrote a book called the Krishna Samhita. And in the Krishna Samhita, there is an interesting point that he makes. He makes many interesting points, but one point he makes, he is saying that nowadays there is only a portion of the Vedas left. Not all the Vedas are left. He even gave a percentage. So guess how much percent of the Vedas are left? Guess. 50%, you say. 20%, you say. How much percent is left? 25%. 10% is left. Yes, how much percent is left? Bhaktivedanta Thakur said. Bhaktivedanta Thakur didn't guess, he calculated it. Because he was learned. So he calculated it. And he calculated only 6% is left. He says, we know the names of these scriptures, but we don't have them anymore. Yeah. He said, all the names we have, but we don't have the manuscripts anymore. 6%. But that was in 1870 or something like that. So can you imagine in 2040? It's not 6% anymore. Some more has been lost since then. Some more, because manuscripts they get lost. Not everything. I have a disciple who lives in Oxford, and who is a PhD, and he is the librarian for the Hindu faculty. And he says that in Oxford they have many manuscripts that they brought from India, and they haven't even catalogued them. They don't even know what they have. So much is there. They have no idea what they have. Vedic knowledge is lost. When they broke the Jama Masjid, right, or that is the mosque in Ayodhya, and they broke that, the BJP, then the Muslims took revenge, and they broke also some temples, and they also burned libraries. Yeah? So many manuscripts were lost, actually. In Bangladesh, many Vaishnava libraries were just burned to the ground. All our line gone. Yeah, gone. So the point is, even if you want to follow all the sanskaras, all the rules and regulations of the scriptures, you cannot, because you don't have the scriptures by which it can be done. Therefore, according to the Vedic standard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta once said, according to Vedic standard, there are no more qualified brahmanas, because no brahmana is actually followed all the sanskaras. Then what to do? Then the only option is the Narada Pancharatra, the Bhakti Sutras from Narada Muni, or the Pancharatriki, because that is the other line, the other connection. See, what Narada did, Narada went through all the Vedic literatures. He went through all the Samhitas. And he took from all these samhitas, he took the essential verses relating to bhakti. And then he assembled that in his Bhakti Sutras. It is said that actually Narada went to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan he performed austerities. And finally he got the darshan of Srimati Radharani. And he said, Narada said, that he had a desire to join in the rasa dance. He said, yeah, but you cannot join in this body. So they took Narada to Kusum Saravar, dipped him into Kusum Saravar, and he came out as Naradi Gopi, who partook in the rasa dance. And then later, that Gopi was dipped again in Kusum Saravar, and again Narada Muni came out. And then the Lord instructed Narada Muni to write these Bhakti Sutras after that. Yes. So then Narada Muni actually wrote the Bhakti Sutras, collected all these sutras from Bhakti, from various scriptures, and wrote this Narada Pancharatra. So through that now, through Pancharatriki, we are getting our diksha, our Brahminical qualification. Many years ago, I was traveling in India, that's before Krishna consciousness, and I came to Gaya, the place where Lord Chaitanya was initiated and so on. So I stayed in a dharamsala, and when I came in, they asked me, so, what is your gotra? Right? So it's like, well, okay. Then they say, write Jat, right? Jat basically means aboriginal. So I had to write like Jat, right? But now I wouldn't write Jat, right? Now I would write Achyuta Gotra. What is my Gotra? My Gotra is Achyuta Gotra. So my line, the Achyuta Gotra is the best Gotra, because the Achyuta Gotra, Achyuta, what does it mean? Huh? Infallible. Infallible Gotra. There's no fault in that Gotra because it comes straight from Krishna. Whereas there could be some fault in the other Gotras, possibly. But Achyuta Gotra is the infallible Gotra. It's the line coming from Krishna. So that's the best one. That's the best. So like this, through this line of disciplic succession coming down from Krishna to Brahma, to Narada, to Vyas, to Madhva, and from Madhva down to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then down to Srila Prabhupada, we are getting the same as the Vedic culture, but in a shortcut. We get it in a shortcut. Even if we haven't performed all the sanskara, doesn't matter. Said, Vedic culture is the process of, like the goldsmith who makes an ornament with very fine tools, small hammer, after beautiful ornaments. So that is the Vedic system is very refined, and a lot of that knowledge is lost. So now we are not following that any longer. Can you turn the volume down slightly? Now we are not following that any longer. Now we're following the blacksmith process. And the blacksmith, what does he have? Not a small hammer, he has a big hammer. And the blacksmith, he's not tap, tap, tap. The blacksmith just takes a big hammer and goes like, boof, in one blow. Done. So now we are following Sankirtan. The Sankirtan process is a very powerful process. And in one process, one can be purified. One can be purified. There is a simple verse which somehow or other, for many years, I always forgot that verse. I always forgot some line of this verse. Every time I tried to recite it, I would forget. And then I was in Mumbai and I had to take a taxi. And then the taxi driver recited that verse. And then me, a sannyasi, was defeated by a taxi driver. So since that day, I know that verse. And the verse is Nam Nam Yavati Shakti. Nam Nam Yavati Shakti Papa Nirharane Hare Tavat Kartum Avapnoti Patakam Pataki Naraha. That verse. And it means that if you chant the holy name once, you burn up more sinful reactions than you can commit in a lifetime. So that's quite powerful, you see. So in this way, so quickly purified. That's why Prabhupada sometimes said that, he gave that example, that you chant, and you can watch what has changed. So you watch. Hare Krishna. You saw the change. Maybe you didn't look proper, so you were not watching. So watch again. This time you're watching. Everyone watching. Okay, you're seeing? Okay. You're also watching, eh? Yes? Okay, you tell me what has changed. I'm going to ask you. Okay, look very careful. Hare Krishna. What has changed? Not changed, same. No change? What has changed? Bliss?
You look happier.
I look happier, huh? Are you sure? Yeah.
No external.
Huh?
No external change.
But what Prabhupada said, yes, he said the subtle body has changed. The subtle body has changed. All that is what has changed. Each time you say Hare Krishna once, the subtle body has changed. All the sinful reactions gone. So in this way, we very quickly get lifted above our fallen condition. And this is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is freely distributing this Krishna consciousness to anyone and everyone, and not considering their position of birth, because he knew if you chant Hare Krishna once, you will change. Twice, you change even more, like this. Hare Krishna. Changed. Maybe you become happier when all those sinful reactions go. Could be. Okay, it's getting late, so any question, any comment? It sort of gets time for me to head back to the temple if tomorrow is going to be Mangalarti. Question?
Maharaj, you mentioned that by chanting even once Hare Krishna Mantra, the simple reactions of many lifetimes get raised. But we see devotees like there are so many setbacks devotees also suffer. So how do we understand these two statements?
Can you imagine how many sinful activities we have committed? Anadir Bahi Mukha. How long have we been in the material world? So many lifetimes. So we're chanting every day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So many names we are chanting. And with each one, we're burning up so many sinful activities, more than we can commit in one lifetime. But we have many, many, many lifetimes of reactions. So we're burning it up very fast now. Very fast. So the setbacks are only external. Actually, there's so much progress. The only real setback that can be there is when we commit offenses to devotees. Then we can, then we get, then the deers kiss the tiger and the Swami the microphone. Then, so we just be careful about these offenses, and then we may struggle in our mind, we may feel it's difficult. That's okay, but as long as you're chanting Hare Krishna, you get so much purification, more than we can imagine. This movement is much more powerful than we realize. And talking about microphone, Srila Prabhupada once was saying that he's using the microphone as an example, and he said, I don't need microphone, he said. I'm just using the microphone to purify the microphone maker. You see? So, I don't know the company name. Is it?
Sennheiser.
Huh?
Sennheiser.
Okay, whatever it is. So the maker gets purified like that. Right? And can you imagine? So there's a factory and there's so many microphones going to that factory, but this one, someone put this one in the box. Right? Someone works and puts like whole day microphones in boxes, and someone put this one in the box, and now it's come to the devotees. And in this way, that person is getting so much mercy. So can you imagine how many people are being purified? So many screws are in here. Each screw, right? The maker of these screws, the ones who put them in, so much mercy is going on. So many people in the world are getting touched by this movement. It's inconceivable. So that's the agyata sukriti, the unknown spiritual benefit people get from this movement is enormous. Prabhupada also said, when you go through the street with the Harinam party, not only are the people in the street being purified, he said, no, even the street itself is purified. And anyone who goes through that street after gets purified. Just imagine the power. Yeah? So just on Korpanim we purified Swanston Street, and it's like, anybody who goes to Swanston Street now gets purified. That gets purer and purer each time we do Harinam. So we underestimate, we do not realize how much potency there is in this movement. But pure devotees, they see it like that, and that's why Prabhupada was so convinced. Just chant in the park and everything will happen. No doubt. And we think, chanting, nothing is happening. But Prabhupada saw everything is happening.
Maharaj, the chanting actually, sometimes I will be in a hurry and still I am doing the chanting.
Mm-hmm.
My mood may not be in presence of Krishna, but how the chanting will give any benefit to us or not?
Yes, maybe you cannot chant fully attentively because you're so rushed and have so much to do, but Krishna understands that. Krishna also considers that. It's like, it's not a mechanical process. What the chanting does, it attracts the mercy of Krishna. So there's a person involved in the reciprocation. So Krishna will personally look at your situation and will see, okay, he's a family man, he has, all these responsibilities, and in spite of that, he's still faithfully chanting every day. Even some days, he may be so busy, he even chants in the car while driving. Which of course is not the best. But what to do? Krishna also says what to do. All right, I will tolerate it. So it's like that. It's ultimately, we may not come to perfection, but our devotional service, our chanting attracts Krishna's mercy. And and we depend on that, because otherwise, what can we achieve? No? We are not such, as you pointed out, not such great chanters, right? We're not such great readers. We're maybe not such great devotees. So, so then, what's our hope? But even although at the end of life, there may still be impurities in our heart, we hope that by the mercy of Krishna and Prabhupada, right, and the spiritual master, that still, we will attain success. And this is called asabandha, hope against hope. That the devotee, although he's not perfect, still hope against hope carries on with the hope that he may still get the mercy of Krishna. It is like that. But of course we should try and chant good rounds. Okay, I think, thank you very much. We were happy to be here with you this evening, and we may meet again in the temple, or temple of course is a little far from here, but yeah, Vaikuntha is a lot further. And the Supreme Lord gives direct darshan on Dank Street. So it's worth the drive, I think. So I guess I'm going. It's worth to be in Mangalarti. It's nice. Maybe you will not be going, but at least sometimes, maybe. Because there is special mercy from Radha Vallabha, because these are the deities that Prabhupada installed, and Gaura-Nitai. So, when the deities are installed by such a powerful devotee, then that mercy of that powerful devotee, that prayer of that devotee remains with the deity, you see, because the pure devotee invites Krishna, please come here to this and manifest here, and bestow mercy upon all the people who will come for darshan in this temple. That's basically the prayer at the time of installing the deity. So Prabhupada prayed like that. So Prabhupada's prayer is always there. Therefore, Prabhupada's deities are very special in the entire world. And you happen to have some here in Melbourne, so very fortunate. But it's a long drive. What to do? So far. That's why now I must take your leave, because otherwise it will get very late. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.